From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year. Bud Shaw from WKYC.com is with us. Hello, Bud.
Hello, Les. I'm sorry the audience caught me looking at my phone, but when you're in this town, well, things can happen very quickly around
Before
here.
you tell me what's happened, I'll apologize to the audience, too. I don't know what, you know, my perfect hair, I don't know what happened to it today. What's going on back there? Is somebody building a nest or something?
Were you in a wrestling match?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, we have an announcement to make. If you haven't heard, we've been talking about it for a couple of days now, that tonight will be our final show on Spectrum Sports, and we thank them for, what do we, Mike, just whisper in my ear if my hair doesn't get in the way. What is it, about 5 years with Spectrum? Yeah, I think it's 12 years on this channel, 7 on what became Spectrum after it was Time Warner.
But it only felt like 5.
No, it felt like 7 sometimes. But I do want to thank the people at what is now Spectrum Sports for allowing us to do whatever it is that we've done every night for as many years as we've done it. And so far, Bud, as you know, I have a long traditional history of folding things, businesses, teams, and so on. But we didn't fold Spectrum. They're moving on to bigger and better things with Spectrum News 1, and we wish them well, and we thank them for the opportunity to work with them. And, you know, in this business, you never know. You may be bumping into each other somewhere else along the line. But we thank them for the opportunity to do that. But when you say, is it 5 or 7 years, you'd think you should be able to account for how many years it is.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, right?
That's exactly. And I want to thank Bud Shaw for being a huge part of this, and will continue to be so for the future, the immediate future. Starting on Monday night, this show, More Sports and Les Levine, will now be on cleveland.com, and we appreciate them coming to the rescue, I guess, and bringing us that opportunity to move on. I'm going to just make this one statement, Bud, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
I don't know why it has to be okay with you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I'm going to say it anyway. I am not.
Finally, on the last night, I get some veto power?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, I just want to get this out there. I am not doing 23 years on cleveland.com. That's one thing I can guarantee. I don't know how many championships we'll have in Cleveland sports over the next 23 years, but More Sports and Les Levine will not in any way, shape, or form be celebrating it.
Well,
although you never know.
You never know. You just never know. I wouldn't rule anything out.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Once again, thanks to Jason Feaster and all the people down in Columbus to allow us to do this, whatever we do. What do we do?
Entertain, hopefully.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come out right out of the box with that one in case people
because
said,
you never
what?
Know. Yeah. No, why start
That's
now?
That's not
it. You're going to start now? 216-575-0403 is the number. Again, the serious note, just that this will be it for Spectrum Sports. I guess I can say at this particular time, but you'll be able to find us on cleveland.com. And cleveland.com has been doing a sensational job promoting that fact on, what do you call it? The front page? What do you call it? With the banner?
Their website. I mean, it's the most read website in town, and people go there for their news, and they'll go there now for More Sports and Les Levine. They've been simulcasting it for a few weeks now, correct?
Yeah. Well, what do I know about the technology? Well, I just show up and they say start talking.
I'll say this: the great thing about it is that, you know, as I found out when I was doing columns there, you know, there's Cleveland fans all over the country and all over the world. Yeah. And I got emails and messages, comments at the bottom of columns from people living all over the country.
Yeah, and we've gotten calls from people asking who are not computer literate. They attest it's really easy. Even I can do it.
If Les can do it. If Les can do it, it's easy.
If Les can do it, it's easy. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right. I was on 92.3 The Fan today, and we had Jason LaCanfora from CBS Sports, and he said that at this particular time there may be as many as 18 candidates for the Cleveland Browns coaching job. Is that possible?
Well, it sounds a little heavy, right? I guess if you take from that this is now one of the premier jobs in the league, and I believe it is.
Right.
That probably speaks to the attractiveness of the job, but also to the thoroughness of the search. They had, you and I have talked about this, they had a head start on coaching search.
Well, on people who are not coaching now.
Right,
you
but I'm
couldn't
just
go
saying,
to an existing coach.
they knew that they had replaced their coach partway through the season. That gave them the opportunity to, if nothing else, have organizational meetings about who they want to consider. So it doesn't surprise me that over the last, what has it been, 7 weeks or 7 weeks of games for
the 5 and 2
for the interim
with,
staff,
5 and 2 right now.
You know, that they've left no stones unturned. See, when people, I'm going to talk about this in my ad lib opening comment, but when people talk about this, about just don't fix what's broke, give it to Greg Williams.
Right.
I'm like, well, if Nick Saban said today that he was interested in coaching in the NFL, would those same people say, no, we don't want to talk to Saban, we got Greg Williams? No, I don't think so.
No, and this is your one chance to make, you know, you talk about one chance to make a first impression. This is the one chance you have to clear the decks and go get the best possible person, most qualified person out there. If it's Nick Saban, it's Nick Saban. I would doubt it. He's 68 years old.
Right, yeah, I was using it only as an example, that if there are qualified coaches out there and guys that you really have coveted and think would be great for the next 5-10 years, you owe it to yourself to pursue that. Doesn't mean you have to hire one of those guys, and in the end, maybe you turn around and you say, everything being equal, we're going to stick with what we have here.
Yeah, we know what we have.
But you still go through the process of interviewing people.
You have to. The unfortunate thing for Greg Williams is if he doesn't get this, he probably won't get anyone in the NFL.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Cleveland fans, I think, are rightly excited about what they've seen over the last 7 weeks. It remains to be seen whether other GMs and other owners look at it and feel the same way about it. And if they do, then if he isn't hired here, he'll get some interviews.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's check out MS&LL headlines. Brought to you by Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. Nelson Cruz signs a contract, a 1-year, $14 million deal with Minnesota. All of a sudden, that Central Division of the American League looks like on paper getting a little bit tighter. And as I mentioned, the report from Jason LaCanfora, the Browns talking to at least 18 candidates. And by the way, just because you're talking to them doesn't mean anything. You owe it to yourself, you know, in vetting the whole process. You owe it to talk to anybody who's either expressing interest or somebody who wasn't on your list in your hip pocket.
I mean, what's really hard to believe about that number is that the season is ongoing. So there's a lot of coaches that they probably want to talk to or who's still affiliated with other teams.
Guys, you got
so
guys.
It's hard to believe there's 18 more somewhere that they've already talked to, you know?
Right, but you can't talk to people who are still working that expect to be in the playoffs. Or
so
even,
that's what I'm saying. So what you mean that number's really closer to 30 that they would consider? Come on.
Nothing will surprise me.
Did you guys contest this number from Jason LaCanfora? Did you ask him, are you serious?
Were dozing off during that that time, taking a nap. No, when you think about it, though, there's another report out there that Jimmy Haslam and Paul DePodesta, and I mean, I can't believe DePodesta would be in on this search.
Well, you know, I heard that. That was a story I think that Charles Robinson had written initially. You know, the fact is that Paul DePodesta is still involved in the organization, and I think chief of strategy is what it says it is. It could be in many different facets of the organization, many different departments. I don't doubt that he still is involved in, the analytics of how you look at the draft and how you look at the game of football.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with looking at the coach?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. I know that story, I think, suggested that he was, if not responsible, he was pushing for Greg Williams to get the interim job.
Right.
Based on the fact that, I don't know, that Greg Williams has been...
Haley was...
Yeah, that Greg Williams has embraced analytics. I don't understand where that would come from. It sounded to me like they decided in explaining what they did that Haley and Hugh had a dysfunctional relationship.
Right.
Why would they need Paul DePodesta to point that out and say that Greg Williams was the better candidate?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
216-575-0403. Mike Massetta from Nature Stone will join us in the next segment. All right, Bud mentioned his ad-lib commentary coming up, so let's get to it.
Okay. I don't think fans are going to like what I say, Wes, but if the Browns lose Sunday, they will be 5-3 under Greg Williams. And they will have lost to the 3 best teams they played, Kansas City, Houston, and Baltimore, the only teams they faced with a winning record at the time. Would that change your mind about Greg Williams? If you're someone banging the table for him as the next head coach, I'd like to hear why you think John Dorsey should call off the search and make a decision for the next 5 years based on one half season when this team was in desperate need of a recalibration. Does it matter that the Browns' wins came against teams that all have losing records, teams like Cincinnati, Carolina, Denver, Atlanta? If not, why not? I haven't changed my opinion. The Browns finally have a really good job to offer, and they should offer it to the guy they think is the best coach they can hire. Are you with me, Les, or against me?
I'm totally with you. Totally with you.
That doesn't happen often.
In fact, as you know, I'm the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason. I have my mock draft ready for the, you know, think about this. We haven't talked NFL draft. We haven't talked about who the best quarterbacks are. It's a good thing the Browns found their quarterback, because if this was the year, who knows what would happen.
Yeah, the kid, Justin Hebert, is that it?
Yeah, Hebert.
I probably blew that, but I think announced that he's going back to school, so there's one less guy at the top of the draft, and it doesn't matter. You know?
So my mock draft that I worked so diligently on is of no use at all?
I would start getting your mock draft, getting your depth chart on left tackles available, because that's where I think they'll go.
All right. Anyway, I'm a little burned out on talking GMs and coaches right now. Let me just bring up baseball. Nelson Cruz, as I mentioned, signed a contract with the Minnesota Twins, which makes them a little stronger, even though they lose Joe Mauer. And by the way, you don't still vote for Hall of Famers. If you did, do not vote for Joe Mauer. Not worthy.
Can I vote for Nelson Cruz?
Absolutely. Who signed a contract that I believe the Indians could have handled if they wanted to re-sign Michael Brantley. They chose not to do that, and that bothers me. They think there's a 2-year or 3-year opportunity here on a window to win the Central Division and then maybe make the pitching good enough to win it all in the postseason. Well, I don't know if it's a 2-year window now. Chicago talking about spending money maybe to get both of the high-priced free agents. Minnesota just bettered themselves today. It was a move the Indians should have made. 216-575-0403. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more sports and Les Levine. New content is posted each and every day on facebook.com. We'll come back in a moment. We'll talk with Mike Masetta from Nature's Stone. Bud Shaw with us. Our final night on Spectrum Sports, and we continue on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I had bad credit, so I wasn't able to get a bank account or a credit card.
My life is so busy, I don't have time to be standing in line to cash a check.
That's why we created the Netsband Prepaid MasterCard. It puts you in control of managing your money.
I can get my money up to 2 days earlier than everybody else. I don't have to wait till the end of the week to get paid.
Order now at no cost and get paid up to 2 days faster.
Call 1-800-644-0772.
Call now and you can choose your card design.
Look at the new look, bud.
Wow.
Talk about that in a moment. Nicotine was born in 1947. Carson Palmer. Michael Bourne, remember him in the great years he gave the Indians? Cole Hamels, Jamal Charles, Nick Chubb, rather. He's been terrific, hasn't he?
Yes, and I accept your apology.
For what?
For banging the table for Saquon Barkley last year.
He's pretty good.
When you now have Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb.
Did I know? If I had to be held accountable for everything but
no, he is.
I wasn't
good.
wrong on Saquon Barkley.
No, he's very good. He's very good.
In fact, he's better than I expected. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We welcome in somebody who's been with us for quite some time, and we can't produce the show without guys like this, like Mike Macetta and others. Michael, how are you from Nature's Stone? How you doing tonight?
Hey, doing well, Les. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. Oh, you sound a little down. You okay?
Oh, I'm just getting over a cold, I think. Just a little one, though. Nothing too bad.
Keep your distance.
Yes, I'm going to stay back.
All right.
I love the new theme music, by the way.
What's that?
The new theme music.
Yeah, pretty nice, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Mike Macetta from Nature's Stone, great company, great people, and we appreciate them being with us. All right, Bud Shaw with us tonight, Mike. Mike, what are you thinking?
Hey, Bud.
Hey, Mike.
What are you thinking? Let me throw what I'm thinking, and that is we're talking about the Browns and the general manager and making a coaching decision and a coach. In the meantime, we have two other teams, and I don't like the directions they're going. And of course, I'm talking the Cavaliers and the Indians.
Well, the Browns seem to be making all the right moves. The Cavs and certainly don't look like they're going to win many games, but young team. You know, they're trying to get rid of their overpriced talent, if you will, and they're going to try to just regroup and rebuild at this point in time. The Indians are interesting because I don't know what they're doing yet. It's hard to understand, and I've kept saying that they're one of those teams where they're in a really unique position where they have so much talent that's on their pitching staff, starting pitchers that is under such great contract structures that they could actually afford to trade one of these guys and improve their team overall dramatically. So they could actually become a better team, even though they're trading a Cy Young Award winner or a Cy Young Award candidate, from last year. So it's a pretty interesting position for them to be in. I don't know that they're going to do it, but if they did do it and they were to improve their outfield drastically or, pick up a third baseman and be able to dump Kipnis' salary and Ramirez over to second full time. There's a lot of things that they can do right now, and they're in the position to do it. And it's a pretty unique situation that they can be in.
All right. So number one, do you agree with that? And number two, do you think they'll pull the trigger and do something? Because again, I think the Nelson Cruz move would have fit right in with what they should be trying to do.
Well, I think at this point, Mike hit on it that they're going to improve themselves probably not through a free agent signing, but through a trade.
Right.
And I know people don't want to hear that. But, with Clevenger, with Bieber, I think they showed last year that they would still, if they lost, I know this sounds crazy, right? But if they lost Corey Kluber through trade or Trevor Bauer, I think they would still have the best pitching in their division. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Mike, would you agree with that?
100%.
And I realize that's not the end all to have the best pitching in your division. The idea should be to get deep into October and win.
The other thing is, to both of you, there's no way on paper now. There's nothing they can do in their situation to overcome Boston, New York, and Houston. So they just have to overpower teams with pitching because they're never going to get a lineup as good as any of those three teams.
Well, in the playoffs, two pitchers, if you have two starting pitchers that dominate games, that can win you a championship. So it happened with the Diamondbacks when they had Schilling and Johnson, and every year you see two dominant pitchers kind of work their way through. Today's game is a little bit different because it involves so much more of the bullpen than it ever has in the past.
Yeah.
But with bullpens, they come and go. So there's a lot of young talent on the Indians in their farm system that we don't know about, that they could bring up to replace guys in their bullpen that may actually be better this year than what they were last year. We have to see what happens with that. But
does it seem like to either of you or both of you that maybe that window isn't as open as long as we thought it was, because it looks like Chicago and Minnesota have made some moves that make them better immediately.
Well, Minnesota was supposed to be good last year.
True.
So that's and they weren't, but that's not to say that they're not going to be good this year. So they were supposed to be good last year. I'm sure that they'll be better this year. Chicago's making moves, and they're going to continue to make moves, and they're going to improve probably through just buying players through free agency, much like some of the big priced teams do out there. I don't think that either of those teams can catch the Indians, though. At least not for the foreseeable future. Certainly not next year. Probably not even the year after, with the way their contracts are structured. So I think you got about a 2 or 3 year window with this group of players to really make a run at it.
Well, I was with Brian Anderson today on 92.3 The Fan, and he was talking about this Sowers kid, the kid they got in that 3-way deal, and he really likes him. He said that the problem is, if you're going to look at stats on him, he was always maybe one level above where he should have been, and sometimes you get overpowered by that. And he said if he was more equal going along, you wouldn't see a disparity in the numbers.
Yeah, and I understand people are upset with the payroll and they're watching it shrink again, but they do have a pretty good front office that I think should get the benefit of the doubt, at least in December and January and February, right? I mean,
yeah, I would agree.
Well,
all right, let's quickly turn our attention to the Cavaliers, who, to me, at this moment, doesn't look like they have any idea what direction they want to go. So help me out. What direction do they want to go, and what are they going? Bud, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, I didn't understand the bringing back Kevin Love and acting like you're building around him. And,
right.
And I understand that some of those other contracts we know that JR's is harder to move because he's still around, or his contract is still around. But they're going to have to, I don't want to say flush it, but they're going to have to tear it down and start again, and you do that by basically what they're doing right now. They have the worst record in the NBA, and they'll have no guarantee, but it'll be one of the better shots at one of those really great young talents from Duke.
Yeah, Duke looks like the top three players in the draft might be from Duke. Mike, what do you think? Is it concerning you the way they're handling this?
Oh, basketball is such a funny sport because one player can change the whole course of time with your team. So there's only 5 players on a court in basketball, and one player who dominates the game, can make your team a playoff team. They can go from being, 8-23 or whatever the Cavs are to being, 19-10 and being in the playoff hunt. So they're probably a draft pick away, or a big free agent signing, although, they're not going to do that. But they're probably a draft pick away from being, a pretty decent team. But I would say that about every team in the NBA, just because of how limited the players are on the court.
Right. And every team has good players.
And you're right. And every team has good players. They kind of are going in 2 directions. They've got, like Bud said, they spent the money on Kevin Love. They've got Tristan Thompson's floated contract, although he's been playing well this year. Mm-hmm. They've got J.R. Smith's floated contract, and then at the same time they're dumping guys and trying to accumulate draft picks. Well, if they hit on one of those draft picks and they still have a couple of veteran guys around who have been to the championship, then you've got something, and it may only take a year, to get there. So if they don't hit on somebody in the draft, then this could be a long, ugly process.
All right, Mike, just quickly, the search will go on. It'll start more publicly after Sunday's Browns game for the coach. Just a quick answer. Do you want Greg Williams to stay on, or do you want somebody else?
I want somebody else. Love Greg Williams. Love what he's doing. He's a defensive coordinator, and I'd like to see somebody else in their head.
I think you're on the same page as me and Bud. All right, yeah. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Take care, Mike.
We will talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay. Mike Macetta, Nature's Stone, terrific guy, terrific company. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. And you can catch the excitement at Northfield Park with live racing, and that's Wednesday through Sunday with a post time of 6 p.m. It's open early every day, though, at noon for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Bud, Shaw, and I return in a moment. Bud, of course, on WKYC.com. Back in a moment right here on Spectrum as well as cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Naturestone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Naturestone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, it has a higher insulation rating than carpet and is warmer than linoleum, vinyl, wood, or tile.
Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today and get up to 50% off.
Naturestone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home. Naturestone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. But how come when someone starts a sentence with no offense, the next thing you hear is something offensive?
Yeah, that's generally the indicator.
Yeah.
They caught me again looking at this.
That's okay. People think it's a mirror and you're checking out your face. I've been getting these emails, and maybe I don't understand it.
Is it from a Nigerian prince? If so,
and it's only going to be $10. Very funny.
Okay.
My good friends Amy, Paul, and Mandy, their daughter Mandy, are saying, thanking me for 23 years of very entertaining sports information, YouTube, Bud, on this crazy Cleveland sports world. We've loved watching and having the opportunity to have been a small part of the show, and we've enjoyed spending time with you and your family. We will continue watching you and praying for you and your beautiful family. Happy New Year and many years to come. The Platonics. Amy, I love you, by the way. Can I say that?
I think you can.
She was a sports professionalette. Then that wasn't politically correct, so we had that's not true. We didn't have to do anything.
But you made the right choice.
Made the right choice, but we did. But I thought she was saying that she wouldn't be able to watch. But of course, if you have a computer, you can keep watching. So I'm going to say this to Dave and Finley. Since you're going off TV, this will be the last show I'll get to see. Well, if you have a computer, you can see us every night, right? And one good thing is you watch it at 6 to 7, and if you miss it, you can just get it on demand immediately.
Yes, it's
for the next 23 hours.
It'll be archived, and you could watch it the next day if you wanted to.
Dave goes on to say, although I disagreed with you on some opinions, and especially your admiration of the manager of the Indians and Kippy, I respect your knowledge. I also enjoyed your guests, but especially Bud Shaw and Terry Pluto. So goodbye and good luck.
Thank you,
Dave. If you have a computer, you can watch us. Last email to you from Frank. Okay. Will we be getting more How Come Quickies with the new format? Jason in Akron. From that.
What's the answer he's looking for there? Yes or no?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What do you think he means by this before I give it an answer? 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's go. For those of you just tuning in late, this is our last show on Spectrum Sports. However, it will continue. Our next show will be Wednesday night. No show with New Year's Eve day and New Year's, but we'll be back on Wednesday with, by the way, Bud Shaw. That'll be Wednesday night, and it's exclusively on cleveland.com. Let's say hi to Ellie in Brook Park. Ellie, good evening.
Good evening, Les, and good evening, Bud. And
hi,
I'm
Ellie.
honored to be on your last show, since this will be the last time I'll get to see you also, because I don't have a computer.
You don't have a computer?
No,
sorry.
and I was going to bust out crying, but I better just stick with the basics, and then I'll cry later. But
Okay.
okay, your hair's a little off tonight. But
Yeah, I got a problem back here. Something's growing back there.
That's understandable.
It
but
is?
let's get to the main stuff that I want to discuss with you. I'm concerned with the Indians also. I agree with your statement earlier about the Nelson Cruz thing. If they could have signed Brantley, I just can't believe they couldn't really work something out with him. And I think that they should try and go after Nick Castellanos from Detroit. Yeah, because I don't like that outfielder's not. I don't like the outfield. I'm sorry.
However, is it fair to say here on whatever it is, the 27th of December, is it fair to say that that's what the lineup is going to look like in April? And I doubt that it will. In fact, I think they're 2 or 3 players or trades away from being what they'll be on April 1st. You agree, Bob?
I do, yeah.
So maybe it's not fair to criticize them at this point if it's just one or 2 pieces, if they got 3 more pieces to the puzzle to add. And I'm going to try to believe that that's what's going to happen, because I can't believe this organization, with the best front office in Cleveland, I can't believe that they would go in so undermanned.
I agree. I keep thinking maybe they've got something up their sleeve that we just don't know about. Hopefully it's not trading Kluber. Personally, I'd rather see Bauer get traded, because they might be able to get more for Bauer, or almost equal. But it's just that I just like Kluber's attitude better. Something about Bauer yet.
Well, Kluber is more desirable to another team because he's locked in longer.
Right, that's true. And then the comment that Bauer always made about signing all these one-year contracts.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that probably turns off a lot of the general managers.
All right, Ellie, I got to move on. You have been an important part of our show. We're gonna miss you, and hopefully we'll get you back. And if we do, let us know.
I sure will. And Happy New Year and good health to both of you in the upcoming year.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ellie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, Greg Williams, hoping for a good year for himself and the Cleveland Browns. And out in Berea today, he talked about his team.
You know, winning cures a lot of ills. You know, winning, promotes confidence. And I've said this before in other things on, fine motor skills, faster reactions, faster speed, more power. All those things can be innervated through your body, and when your mind is confident, your mind's ready to go, and your mind has no doubt that this is the direction that you have to propel yourself. And then when you see 11 guys doing that together, you're doing it together as a team, and winning promotes all of that, and we have to continue to do it that way.
Of building the program as everybody around here would want to do for next year, how much carryover can there be if you take care of business?
You hope that it dominoes step by step by step by step, and then how everybody fits together, and then that will be something that we'll talk about in the off season, because right now our focus has to be on the Ravens. We have to be it that way.
All right, that's Greg Williams talking out on Berea today. This is pretty impressive. Last 6 games with a 5-1 record. Browns outscoring their opponents 24.2 to 19.8. Yards per game 391 to 335. 270 passing to 232, and rushing per game 120 to 100, almost 103. That's not bad. You take that over a whole season, wouldn't you?
Sure.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. We are on More Sports and Les Levine Monday through Thursday from 6 until 7. And as you mentioned, you could watch it anytime throughout the week. You can pick any show, any day's show, and then go from there. And in the meantime, Friday nights, Dave Bacon hosts the Weekend Winners, and that's on cleveland.com, hosted by Dave Bacon. That's next one coming up tomorrow night, the 28th of December. Where is this year gone? Unbelievable. Weekend Winners edition of More Sports and Les Levine. We'll come back in a moment with Bud Shaw. We're halfway through. More Sports and Les Levine continues on cleveland.com.
smile.
No matter how well you provide for your family today, if you don't have life insurance, their future may be at risk. Why not help guarantee those you love $250,000 or more with life insurance through AIG Direct? Less than $14 a month buys a 40-year-old man a $250,000 term life policy. That's up to 3 times what you can get from other companies for the same price. Make the future more secure for those you love.
Call 1-800-723-9758.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
Take a look at this date in sports history. December 27th, 1964, Frank Ryan connects for 3 touchdown passes to Gary Collins in the second half. The Browns upset Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts 27-0 at Municipal Stadium, the last time the Browns won the championship.
And you were there?
Yes, I was. Yeah. Not that helped or hurt the chances to win that game.
But still,
we didn't think it was that big a deal, by the way. He just said, all right.
Yeah, it was a rout.
It was a rout. It was 20, although it was 0-0 at the half.
Oh, really?
And, then Luke Rosa kicked the field goal early in the third, and then 3 touchdowns. It's pretty interesting, I think, that Don Shula was the coach of Baltimore. And the Browns, who had the greatest runner of all time, Jim Brown, they get the lead 20-0. And at one time it was, it was 20-0. It became 10-0, and then and so on. And the game literally over. Now today, if you have a 27-0 lead, you're just running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Jim Brown, and they probably should have run the ball, but the Browns were still throwing. And apparently, Don Shula didn't like that. And the Pro Bowl game, which meant something at that time, was a couple weeks later. And the Baltimore Colts member of the Western Conference team, why Baltimore was in the West, I don't know. But Don Shula sort of gave them permission to hit him a little extra hard.
Really?
And it separated his shoulder.
Wow.
And they say it's because they kept throwing.
Hard feeling.
Although that would have been Blanton Collier's call it wouldn't have been Frank Ryan's call to throw the ball.
Right.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Marty, who's in Springfield, Ohio. Go ahead, Marty.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How about
Marty?
you? You're in Springfield?
Springfield, yes, Southwest Ohio.
Yeah, I know. Right on 70.
Us Browns fans down here are extremely excited about the ongoings of the last 6 weeks.
Right.
Beating the Bengals twice, obviously, clearly made the season.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
No, it hasn't. I've got 2 questions for you. First, I've been watching you down here on the Cablevision Time Warner for a long time. Now, did you lead into the Cribbs' Cribs show back in the 2000s? Was you a part of that?
With Josh Cribbs?
When Josh
Cribbs
had that show for a couple of years. But I think it was on the same network you were on.
Might have been, but I was not involved. That's one show I didn't follow.
Those were some fairly entertaining shows.
Right. Well, he was a more than fairly entertaining return man.
Yes, he was. He probably, if we wouldn't block in the back so many dang times, he would have a whole heck of a lot of records for crying out loud.
Aren't you surprised when a punt or a kickoff is returned and there's no flag?
Well, I always yell at the TV. Well, I yell at the TV a lot. But
you're a Browns fan, of course you do.
Oh, good God. If a punt returner runs sideways, that's when the penalties are called.
Yeah.
If they run straight ahead,
you're absolutely
good.
right. When they stop going straight ahead, something bad happens.
Yeah, you take the 6-7 yards, quit trying to miss people on the outside.
I agree.
That's just coming from
I'm not sure now, Marty, that I would even have my return guys bring it out on a kickoff if it's even 2 yards deep. You're going to get it at the 25. Your chances of getting it beyond the 25 aren't great, and your chances of starting at your own 10 after a block in the back are better than getting past the 25.
I agree with that. But wait, are you saying take the return out completely, or just if it's at the goal line?
No, I'm just saying No, I wouldn't take it out completely. I'm just saying I would coach my guys that unless the ball is, you know, like pooch kicked at the 10 or the 5, if it lands inside the 5, I think I'm going to let it hit first. And if it goes in the end zone, I don't want to bring it out.
I agree.
Well, you know, in the college game, you know, they can fair catch like on the 15 and still get it on the 25.
Yeah,
right.
So,
what was the other
anyway,
I thought you had another question.
I did. Was not sold on Baker Mayfield. It's more of a comment, not a question. And when he planted the flag at Ohio State 16 months ago, I'd have just as soon clothesline him in the middle of the street as anything.
How do you like him now?
What? I'll be the first guy running the block for him. I'll tell you that right now. So, you know, looking forward to the next 10 years.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Although I'm looking forward to next week to watch you on the internet.
All right, thank you. It's on cleveland.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much.
Brown. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't like the face plant of the flag at the midfield, and I wasn't totally fond of how he overdid the Hugh Jackson thing.
Yeah.
But now let's let it go. Let's laugh it off, have some fun with it. Now let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who hated the flag planting, and they've completely forgotten how much they hated it because now they're singing his praises for showing up Hugh.
Right. Well, let's see what Baker Mayfield had to say about that flag plant.
I don't get why people have a problem with football being a competitive sport. You're supposed to play with emotion. You're supposed to play with passion. Quite honestly, if you don't like it, whatever. Football's not meant to be a soft game. Could care less.
Ongoing thing with how he took exception to what he did there.
He's I said this after I went on a show. He's very good at what he does. You know, he gets an opinion going in the media, and then once you go onto his show, he's very cordial, professional, and then as soon as you leave, he's back at it. You know, it creates viewers, it creates, you know, money and revenue flowing through his stuff. And no, I think he's a very good businessman. Now, you know, if that's his real opinion or not, I don't know, but in person, he was very nice. And it's just funny to see how he gets people riled up. It's entertaining.
Are you worried, though, about pushing things too far? I mean, you're the face of this franchise now, and you worry at all that, you know, your on-field behavior is perceived wrongly by some people?
That sounds like the exact questions I got before the combine. No. Not one bit.
You say, I mean, I get what you're saying about competitive game. I understand this. There's a lot of guys who play the game every bit as competitive, but don't do this.
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. That's how it is. Said it and not a cookie cutter quarterback. Can't seem to say that one. But you know what? Everybody's different. Everybody leads a different way. Everybody's competitive in a different way. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I've been who I am. That's gotten me here, and I'm going to continue to do that because I try and improve every week, and I have that same mindset. And so that's why I said a few weeks ago, I'm not trying to get anybody's approval. I'm trying to win football games and do this for as long as I can. That's the goal. And the guys inside this locker room know that. And they know that I would fight for them. They know I'd take a bullet for them. And to me, that's what matters. I don't have to make any friends outside of this locker room. I'm not trying to do that. You know, once they're in here, they know exactly what they're going to get. And that's what really matters.
All right, can we play Bob Hartley, the old Bob Newhart
yeah, sure.
doctor?
Yeah.
This guy is as cocky as can be, but not overly done. There's nothing unlikable about the way he's doing that.
Well, okay, the one thing I would take a little bit of issue with, and I don't think that this is major, what he did with Hugh Jackson, okay? I'm not trying to make it sound like it is. But he's saying, well, why do people have trouble with, or problem with football being a competitive sport? Well, nobody does. Did he do this against Denver? Did he do this against Carolina?
No, he picked
Did he do this against Atlanta? Yeah. No, he didn't do that. So it tells me that it was more than just him being competitive. It also happened at the end of a game. It wasn't used to motivate him or his teammates because it happened when they were about to go kneel down in victory formation. So there clearly is something really personal there between him and Hugh Jackson.
Correct.
And I don't blame him if he doesn't want to give voice to exactly what it is, but he's probably right in that a lot of guys in that locker room have that same feeling and didn't mind seeing him do what he did, either rightly or wrongly.
And they didn't join in the reindeer games either, but nor should they have.
No, listen.
Listen, I understand what he's thinking.
It looked unnecessary to me, especially at that point in the game.
Right, and don't you want to say now, okay, you got it out of your system, let's move on, or is this something that has to be going for 10 years?
If Hugh is in Cincinnati next year, and this happens again, I think eventually no one will have to tell Baker Mayfield. He'll know that he's looking petty if he keeps doing that kind of thing.
All right, that's the other thing I was going to say. Unlike other quarterbacks who are cocky, for lack of a better word, he's under control with his cockiness, I believe. I believe that he does channel it to help him make him better, that he's not a big quarterback. He had a walk-on at 2 places. He was always the underdog. I get it, but now he's not the underdog. He's the lead dog right now.
Well, yeah, he certainly wasn't an underdog as a 10-point favorite against Hugh Jackson.
Right.
From the outside, it looks like he's kicking Hugh Jackson when he's down. And people who didn't go through the last 2 years here probably think he's being totally unfair to another coach in the league.
Right.
People who were here think that Hugh Jackson did his players no favors in the way he addressed some of the problems that they were having during the season.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. And Sokolowski's University, and you've been there a million times, right?
Yes, I have.
If I told you that for 1 hour they were out the door, not the door by the bar area, the front door. And some people would say, well, the service is slow. No, that's not the case.
No, it's...
The people were going through the line. It was nonstop today, just totally continuous. And I didn't get there till 2:30 because of my radio show. Still there out the door for the holiday festivities. What a great place, Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University. And we'll come back in a moment with Bud Shaw right here on Spectrum Sports for the last time and cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems: unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Call or go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
There is a place where dreams arise, stars are born, and greatness is made. What you live for lives here. Spectrum Sports.
More Sports and Les Levine is now available on cleveland.com. To watch, type in cleveland.com/sports into your browser, then click on the More Sports and Les Levine icon, and the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason is available 24/7 from any computer. You can watch live from 6 to 7 Monday through Friday, or catch taped editions anytime on cleveland.com. Pretty good stuff, huh, Bud? We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history. 2004. The Browns dedicate the 40th anniversary. They didn't have a trophy for the 1964 championship. They rededicate a trophy of the 64 championship team And Les notices that the downtown skyline at that point on the trophy included the BP building, the Key Tower, the Q, as well as Jacobs Field.
Are you trying to say those things were not there in '64?
That's pretty much what I'm trying to intimate. Do you remember seeing that?
I don't.
They had it on display in the lobby out at Berea. Pretty good stuff. Let's take a look at this week in review of this date in history. Not much of it, though. 1955, after watching the Browns win 2 consecutive titles, Les confidently tells his dad, well, I think they're going to win every year, at least until the 21st century.
Missed it by that much.
You mean there's a chance? 216-575-0403. We had a Facebook question today, and that question had to do with, what did it have to do with? Anybody have any idea? There you go. Your prediction for the Rose Bowl. Let's take a look at some of the answers from across the world. And you see it right there, Gregory Mees. The Buckeyes celebrate 48-20 for Urban Swan Song. We continue on. Glenn Berger, Ohio State 41-17, helping Urban ride into the sunset his last game as a coach. Then we have Tim Gebhardt. The Buckeyes win big. The Swan Song seems to be a very popular song here for the new year, 42-21 in that one. And Larry Galvin, Ohio State by a large margin, something like 42 to something. There you have it.
Yeah,
and your thought, Washington and Ohio State.
Yeah, I think the emotions of the night, along with the talent, will carry the Buckeyes pretty easily.
Don't forget Northfield Park free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. Each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Wadsworth High School to meet Maria Busso. Maria excels both on the basketball court and in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Maria Busso, this week's Shining Star.
Wadsworth basketball means everything to Maria Buson. She was even a ball girl for the team when she was 5 years old.
Going to the games was like one of my favorite memories growing up. I thought that the high school players were like celebrities.
Buson became a star herself, playing on the varsity as a sophomore, but her junior season never happened.
So it was in a summer league game, and I planted on the end of the court trying to save a ball for one of my teammates, and I guess I twisted my knee the wrong way and I felt a pop.
Maria knew it right away. She had torn her ACL, and she didn't cry at first.
I couldn't accept the fact that I was going to miss my whole junior season for the longest time. And I remember when the doctor finally told me it was going to be a 9-month recovery, bawled my eyes out.
You never know how you're going to come back, especially from an ACL. Whether you're going to be 100%, 80%, 50%, you just don't know. So, but I will tell you this about Maria. She has worked her tail off to get back.
I wanted to get the surgery as soon as possible because I knew I wanted to start the rehab process as soon as I could. That's how I am. Like, I'm going to go 100% into things and give it all that I have.
Once her doctor told her she could start running, Maria ran 5 miles the very next day. Now healthy, she's a senior leader who brings the energy.
I always call tearing my ACL the necessary evil in my life because, like, yeah, in the moment it was horrible, but I've learned so much from it, and I think that I'm twice the player now coming back from it.
Maria Buson gives motivational speeches to her teammates before every game, and now she's giving them to everyone.
Just the other day, actually, one of our ball girls, their parents kind of came up to me and wanted me to talk to their kid about what it takes to come back and to you know, continue my career. And so now knowing that people are looking at me after that for motivation for themselves, it's really inspiring, and it inspires me to work harder every day.
Well, if you know a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com, go to About section, and find the tab that is marked Supporting Education. Nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars. Bud Shaw is with us. Let's see if we can get Petey in Birmingham for about a minute. Go ahead, Petey. You're on the air. Quickly.
Hey, guys. I want to ask you something about this cleveland.com thing.
Yep.
I'm an old dog.
Well, we'll teach you a new trick.
Well, hope. So we're not going to be able to call in. Is that the thing?
You'll be right now. The phone number is the same. We may have a new one, but it'll be prominently displayed and spoken. But you will be able to call in. It'll be live from 6 to 7.
And talk to you guys just like we are now.
Just like you are now. You won't know a difference.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. I may yell at you more.
Okay.
All right.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, this thing in Pittsburgh with fake punt in the Mike Tomlin thing.
Yeah.
The Rooney Rule. And listen, this is not racial, okay? It's ridiculous that this guy doesn't get fired. I don't care if he's purple or yellow.
Yeah, Petey, unfortunately, I don't have time, but let's pursue that some other time because it's an important topic. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And thanks to all of you who have been watching us on Spectrum Sports. Hopefully, you'll be able to continue on with us on cleveland.com. You have a final thought?
Well, I know what he's talking about there.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was a critical fourth down where it was 4th and 5 or 6, and they went for a fake punt in a game that they needed to punt the other team down inside its own 10.
Right.
But listen, I mean, I don't know. The Pittsburghs, Baltimore, Cincinnati, they have found coaches, they've stuck with them, and more times than not, they've benefited from the continuity because those coaches have been pretty good.
All right, thanks to Bud Shaw. Happy New Year to all of you. Thanks again to our people at Spectrum Sports and all along the way. We appreciate all they've been able to do for us, and hopefully we'll see them somewhere down the line. And we'll see you, we've got the weekend show tomorrow with Dave Bacon. We'll see you on Wednesday night. Bud Shaw, coincidentally, will be here for that. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.